Okay, Becky reminded us about the reduced or partial exclusion for the sale of a principal residence. Remind me, Barbara, why was this safety valve put into the law?
Well, things happen. Someone gets sick and they have to move. They relocate for a new job. And I guess Congress thought it would just be unfair to deny them the exclusion for being unable to meet the 2-year ownership and use tests.
Well, for many years, we saw numerous private letter rulings where people essentially asked the IRS whether the partial exclusion applies to their particular situation. Now, I'm curious, how generous has the service been in allowing a partial exclusion? I mean, isn't it an unforeseen circumstance if my neighbor's dog barks all night?
Well, Mike, the IRS hasn't ruled on this particular situation, but it has been pretty liberal when it comes to ruling on what qualifies as an unforeseen circumstance.
I've said that for many years. We saw numerous private letter rulings about the exclusion of gain by homeowners in general and about the partial exclusion in particular. Explain to me, why haven't we seen as many of these requests as before over the past decade?
No, I think it's because there's been no need for the IRS to rule on it. Since the housing collapse in 2008, people weren't experiencing gains. They were really experiencing losses. So they didn't have a need to ask whether their move was an unforeseen circumstance. But the good news is that housing prices are now up. And I think as a result, we're likely to see more rulings on the matter of unforeseen circumstance.
Well, Becky just recited the list of unforeseen circumstances from the service's safe harbor regulations. What about someone whose situation is slightly different? Is this similar to the historic rehabilitation safe harbor that we discussed last month, where the list is exclusive and you've got to fit neatly into one of these categories?
No, that's the point. It's non-exclusive. Well, as I said, now that home values are up and people are moving before meeting the 2-year ownership and use tests, there are going to be, and in fact, there has been a recent private letter ruling on this very question of unforeseen circumstance.